If you're like me and you just don't subscribe to the idea that all of the pyramids in the ancient world were originally built as tombs, symbolic or literal tombs, well, if you don't subscribe to that, then you might want to listen up, because I have two contending theories as to what the original purpose of the pyramids were. So the first theory, which I came across on YouTube, there's a guy called Jeffrey Drum, and he makes a YouTube channel called Land of Chem, as in chemistry. And he's proposing the theory that the ancient pyramids originally were basically industrial chemical plants, and that there is a lot of evidence that backs up this theory. Now, what I love about this theory is that every single pyramid is accounted for in the theory and has its own specific individual use, whereas other theories tend to just focus on the Great Pyramid, the Pyramid of Khufu, and doesn't really include or take into account all of the different designs of every single different pyramid. Researchers from the ACIDA project, and you can check it out online, acidaproject.org, they went and they swab tested loads of the ancient pyramids in Egypt, and they found that there was different chemical compounds and metallic elements found in each pyramid. So first up, we have the Step Pyramid of Saqqara, supposedly the first pyramid built in Egypt. And originally it was done in 3 stages, 1, 2, 3. And originally it was literally just a huge sheer drop into the ground with, I think, up to 11 shafts and subterranean tunnels, and some sort of like access shaft, which is not accessible for humans. It's sort of impossible to get in and out of this huge sheer drop and access shaft. And the theory is that this was for producing methane gas. So they would collect dung, cow dung, and put it into the pit, add water and have a chemical reaction to make methane gas. It's interesting to note that this exact area of Saqqara, the later dynasties were known for praising sacred cows, sacred bulls. There was a whole religion obsessed with cows. Could this be connected to the fact that it used to be a methane plant? Also, the Egyptians were obsessed with the sacred dung beetle, literally an animal that collected dung, which is what you'd need to do to create methane. Okay, here's what it looks like looking straight down the drop shaft of the Pyramid of Saqqara. You have got this huge sarcophagus at the bottom, which I believe is copper lined and has like a kind of cork stop removable lid thing, which why would you need to remove the lid for a dead body? Do you know what I mean? Ironically, that's what you do need to contain methane. You would need a copper lined something with access to the box of methane. And you can see above here, this is the severely sloped access shaft, which you can't get in and out of that. You drop at least 40 foot. So looking at it like this, I can completely see how this would be a manure pit methane gas production place. Now, why would the ancient Egyptians or pre-ancient Egyptians need or use methane gas? You can use it for heating and lighting. You can use it in the process of smelting for metalwork. It can also be used to synthesize other chemicals and gases, which might explain what the pyramid next door was doing. Now, a stone's throw away from the Step Pyramid, we have the Red Pyramid of Dashur, which has one of the most interesting chemical compounds found in any of the pyramids in Egypt. And also, you don't even need a chemical analysis to understand this one. If you have a nose that works, you can observe this for yourself. To this day, the Red Pyramid reeks of ammonia. Now, I know what ammonia smells like because I bleach my hair. The minute that I entered this pyramid, we were all hit with this intense, hot smell of ammonia, which some people say, that's my dog fighting. Some people say, oh, it's because bats get into the Red Pyramid, so it must be the piss from the bats. But bats are in many other pyramids in ancient Egypt, and none of them smell of ammonia, just this one. But we don't just smell it. The stone is literally secreting. You can see this like sort of dark black stuff. It's literally secreting ammonia out of the stone, as well as iron and aluminium oxides. Now, the layout of the Red Pyramid chambers, we're going to call them reaction chambers, is the exact same as the modern chemical reaction chambers that you would need to create ammonia. Now, why would you need 3 chambers to bury just one dead pharaoh? Egyptologists tell us it was because it was an attempt to deter the grave robbers, but they are very specific and too precise. It's also a lot of effort to do. So we've got the step pyramid supposedly making methane gas, and then you've got the red pyramid down the road taking that methane gas and transforming it into ammonia. And that brings us to the next pyramid in the line, the bent pyramid, which takes that liquid form ammonia and transforms it into a solid. Now, this theory is replicated again on the Giza Plateau, with each pyramid producing a specific chemical compound, and then the next pyramid changing that compound like a production line. So this is the inside of the Great Pyramid on the Giza Plateau. You can see we've got these water inlet shafts, and there, in this theory, there is evidence that the satellite pyramids were part of the complex and used as like water hydraulic press, because these pyramids needed to be pumped with water in order for the chemical reactions to take place. You've got the King's Chamber up here, which is like the furnace or main reaction chamber, going into the Grand Gallery where the gases would meet the rising water and the chemical reaction would take place there. And then we've got the Queen's Chamber, which is like an extraction chamber, which is going to separate the gas and create a dilute form of sulfuric acid. Sulfuric acid can be used for mining, it can be used for pigments, dyes, it can be used for explosives, it can be used for metallurgy, can't say that, drugs and detergents. So the chemical analysis of the first pyramid is pointing to a dilute liquid sulfuric acid, which the second pyramid would then take and turn into a hydrochloric acid solution, which can be used in water purification or making iron oxide. There are so many other elements to this theory that I can't get into now, but for example, there are things that are on the outside of the pyramid that are really overlooked, like this almost like portcullis. There is a carved granite, which obviously had sort of a sliding mechanism. There's a similar thing found inside the Great Pyramid, but this is on the outside, which leads to the idea, was there an inlet shaft on the outside for filling the pyramid with chemicals or water as and when needed? Again, you wouldn't need a working portcullis if it was a tomb to be sealed and someone buried in. I really recommend taking a deep dive into the pyramid chemical plant theory, because there are some bits of evidence that are real brain teasers. Like, for example, some of the metal compounds and chemical compounds that are literally seeping out of the stones from inside the pyramid could only have been made at specific temperatures. The lead and zinc compounds that are found coming out of the stone could only have melted and gone into the stone at these temperatures, 327 degrees centigrade and 419. That is a very hot temperature. There was something going on inside the pyramids that was incredibly hot, according to the chemical compounds found. It's also interesting to note that the word pyramid, which is Greek, means fire in the middle. So were these pyramids chemical plants? It's very simple science. It's not anything woo-woo or very high-tech. It's simple science. And it also answers why the hell would there be this mass effort from civilization to make these things? Because they were producing things that were beneficial for civilization, as opposed to all of these things for like one dead pharaoh. It doesn't make as much sense as something that was going to benefit your agriculture. So yeah, what do you think? This is pyramid theory number 1. There is a second pyramid theory, which I think also is a hot contender. So I'm going to get that information ready. I'm going to hit you with that. Let's debate.